Right now, I just have enough to live by. You know, I told you that this morning. You know, I'm on a disability, and it's hard sometimes because when I get only 695 a month, and then I pay my rent. It's going up now this fall. 498 I'll be paying. But it's only a bachelor seat. It's very small, you can't even put too much stuff in there. And I have to pay my phone out of that, and the food, and I can't really buy clothes, like clothes. If I will go to the, thrift store or something like that, I'll get clothes. And sometimes I just wear my winter coat like 3 years. If I buy one winter coat, I will wear it for 3 years. It's hard, very hard. I get worried, every year it goes up, and, the rent goes up every year. I got 2, yeah, but they're grown up already. I had 2 kids. I was 24 when I had my son. 10 years, they were very 8 years apart, when I had my daughter. Yeah. And that was hard too, because I was married that time and separated now. Been separated, it's from drinking. He drinks a lot. And we used to live in this little house when my kids were small, and I had to work hard to bring up my kids because he didn't help me. And he was always out drinking, and I worked hard. And my mom was there sometimes, to sit with my kids. They had difficulties because when I first moved here, my son was only just to start school, but he couldn't speak English, and it was kind of hard, He used to cry when he came home because he couldn't talk to the kids. And when we first came here in Winnipeg, but we didn't have very much, money to pay I was on welfare that time for a while, and then I work. I always work, I was the one who was always working and looking after the kids. And when I, brought them up, I think I was the only one who really brought them up, I should say, yeah. Because he was never there for me. He was always out. No, I only went up to grade 4 because I was at the resident school. I was just small that time. Just start, they came and pick you up north and tell you have to go out, and they put you on a plane. And then that's it. You look at your parents, and they look at you, and then they take you out to school. And you couldn't even speak English when you got there. You didn't know how to speak English, when you got to the city where they, it's like a new place to you when you arrive in a city, because you live always in a bush, and you know what's going on in the bush. But when you first get to the city, you didn't know, what's. It was so different, yeah, very different. Yeah. You say to yourself, what am I doing here? I'm supposed to be back at home with my parents, But it was very hard. I was abused there when I went. Yeah. When I went there. That's why when my brother was stabbed that time, that's when my parents wouldn't let me go back after that. Yeah, because he went to school too at the same time. Yeah. But every time when you open your mouth, you speak your language and then they slap your face and, they think that you've talked about them, but you're not talking. You just want to talk to somebody, like you ask questions about who you can speak to, what's going on here. That's why I came in a city here with my children. I didn't want them to go through what I went through when I was young. I didn't want them to go to the resident school or anything like that. I want them to be with them, look after them. That's why I came and live. I end up in a city here. And I work hard. I work at the cleaning rooms. I worked at the Sheraton for 14 years. And I worked at Central Park as a nurse aide when I was young. And I worked here and there like nurse aide. The reason why I didn't like nurse aide is because that time they didn't have anybody to let the patients, not even men, just us, And it was hard for my back and everything. Yeah. Then I end up in cleaning. I like that better, when I did cleaning. I never went to any sports because I couldn't afford any sport. Even with my kids, they didn't, I wanted to put them in there, to go to the sports, but I couldn't afford it. They've both finished high school. My daughter's in North Carolina, and she's just finishing she finished her high school, but she went to the, high school or something.
University?
University, yeah.
Okay.
She's taking cooking, and she knows how to cook now. She said she cooks anything, like pastries and meals. She wants to have her own restaurant, so. But my son is different. My son is he was sick when he turned 13. He was sick. He had depression, what you call that when they have that, like a depression? Like they get nervous that people
anxiety?
That's the way he is. Yeah. He just changed all of a sudden when he was 13. Yeah. But he's still, they give him, he was in the hospital for a long time until they got the right medication for him. Yeah, but he's doing okay now. He's still taking medication for that. And he's working like on volunteering. I work at the harvest too. 2 times a week I work there, and I like it. It helps me a lot, meeting people and all kinds of people. It's getting hard now, to find the housing, especially when you don't have enough money to buy, a housing like that. Very hard. That's why I'm staying where I am right now, because they say now it's hard to get a place now, because even for a little apartment they're up to 500 and 600. They told me, and that's a lot, especially when you don't have enough money to pay your rent, the food. I wish I could work again, but I had the hip replacement, so I can't. Even the other one is bothering me now, my other hip. And I'm going to go on surgery again someday with that. But it's hard, once you work all these years and you don't get nothing, after all the years you work, and all of a sudden you're having this paycheck that's only $6.95 a month. That's not, it's not, first time when I had that, because I work all the time, I used to get my check every 2 weeks. And now I just get once a month a check, and I can live on that, especially when the rent is going up every year.